And I'm not sure anyone really expected this in terms of Liverpool, Jamie, given how impressive they were last season, winning the Premier League in Arne Slot's first season in charge. Then that huge investment in the summer. But has that almost created more confusion than it's solved problems?
Yeah, I think every Liverpool supporter's been sort of having sleepless nights trying to work out what Liverpool should be doing, the system they play, what players they use, the players they brought to the club. And I'm sure the manager's feeling exactly the same. But I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, Liverpool's summer transfer business didn't feel Liverpool-like. It felt Real Madrid-like in terms of actually going to buy the most expensive players or the best players on the market in the positions that you want and paying top dollar. Now, what we saw yesterday was Ekitike, who's been Liverpool's best signing, on the bench, and Wirtz on the bench. Now, I think Gary will know this better than me, but when you spend that type of money on players, the people who've spent the money on, they want to see that money on the pitch. You know, and that's a big problem for them.
Did you?
I haven't spent any money yet. Made a huge profit, just for the record, Jamie.
I mean, have you had a situation?
Yeah, so
like
we did have it. It's very different, obviously. But when I was at Wolves, we did a lot of work. We had some real success in our first season playing Mario Lemina and João Gomez as the two. And then in the summer, we made Mario Lemina captain. And then 10 days or 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, Andre arrives from Brazil. Top signing, top midfielder. Loved him to bits. But now we have this conundrum of I've got my captain, who plays centre midfield. I've got João Gomez, who's been excellent. And I've got Andre. So do I change the system? So we tried changing the system. Didn't really work. Can I leave my captain out to get Andre in? Difficult one. Do I leave João out, who's been excellent for me since I've got here? So Arne Slot will be thinking about this, I'm guessing, a lot. Yeah. You know, he'll go training, he'll think about training, and he'll come in and he'll sit in his office and he'll look at his whiteboard and he'll just be thinking, how do I move these bits around
Isak,
to get these in
Ekitike,
and win football matches?
And Wirtz in the same side.
I was probably one of the few people who wasn't big on Isak coming into the club because I thought it would be a problem when you buy a guy, Ekitike, for 80 million and another guy for 125 million. And it's not actually good for Isak having Ekitike on the bench because he's always looking over his shoulder. He can never relax. He knows if he hasn't done something in the first hour, he's probably going to come off. Now, I think Arne Slot, as you're saying, how can he get the two of them on the pitch? I think he's got to find a way, not every week, of getting the two of those players on the pitch.
Like then? Let's have a look.
Well, listen, I'm thinking of the big money signings who were on the bench at the weekend, and namely Wirtz. So I'm trying to rack my brains as well as a Liverpool supporter what Liverpool could do. Now, I've took Gakpo out there.
Ruthless.
Yeah, but listen, he played really well yesterday, and Szoboszlai would find a place somewhere in the team, but we're concentrating specifically on this attack. So Isak and Ekitike, at some stage, he's got to try and make that work. Now, I go back to what I said before, it was a Real Madrid summer. I think Arne Slot almost has to be a Real Madrid manager, and I put myself up, he maybe put himself in the shoes of maybe Carlo Ancelotti, who every summer, whether that was at Chelsea, Real Madrid or AC Milan, they'd have big money signed and he'd have to make it work, and he would alter it to suit it. So perfect example is, he wins the Champions League a few seasons ago with Karim Benzema as the striker, Ballon d'Or winner. Benzema goes to Saudi, he ends up playing Bellingham as a false nine. It's a completely different way of doing things. So I look at Wirtz being maybe in that position, tucked in. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's about getting the money on the pitch. So Wirtz, you can't keep on the bench forever. So we've highlighted a few weeks ago, in that left channel there, inside, where he plays for Germany, where he played for Leverkusen in that back three system. Ekitike at times, and Isak off him there. And also playing Wirtz there, could that maybe get Chiesa higher up the pitch? Because we all know, as Gary knows, the game now is about almost getting that front five up there. So maybe Wirtz comes inside in that position. Kierke's another signing, maybe opens the space for him to come in. And you get Ekitike, maybe Salah or Frimpong on that right side. But I'm trying to think as a manager, and you'll know this better than me, when you've spent big money, you have to find a way of getting these players in the team. And Carlo Ancelotti was the absolute master at this.
Yeah, and I think
a 5 and a 5.
Yeah, and I think it could suit Wirtz, because obviously the Premier League is definitely going to be more physical than what he's been used to, and maybe some of the criticism aimed at him, or some of the reason that he's been ended up on the bench, is adapting to the physicality of the Premier League. So maybe if he operates wide and drifts into pockets rather than being someone that's in there around midfielders all the time, maybe he'll get a bit more freedom. You've seen Thomas Frank doing it a little bit with the boy they signed from Leipzig.
Yeah.
Simmons.
Yeah.
So they've tried to do that with him. So maybe it gives him a bit bit more freedom to arrive off the side and drop into things rather than being in the middle of the pitch all the time. I think it definitely suits the three at the back. And Kirkes hasn't shown his Bournemouth form yet, so maybe giving him that licence to go around people will get him involved. But the key, as Jamie said, to get back to the point, is can we get these two on the pitch? Because both top number 9s, can we get them close to each other and combine them?
And that's the interesting thing, I think, with this Liverpool summer. Liverpool's summer in the past, they've always been about a plan, and you almost knew what it is. But when you actually see where Liverpool, what they ended up with at the end of the game, with Virtus playing central midfield, it looked a bit of a mess on paper. It didn't actually transform to be a mess in terms of Manchester United going forward, having lots of chances. I don't think it felt like that. But it's going to be really interesting how he gets Ekitike, Isak and Wirtz in the team at the same time, because at some stage he has to, because he's paid that much money for them.